Anyway,
we got
sorry.
8 minutes.
Yeah, I bought a new car.
I like that. I think that's an 8-minute subject right there.
Yeah, so I got the last week we talked about leasing versus buying. I ended up leasing a brand new Mazda 3 hatchback, which was the car that I was saying that I was interested in last week, I think. So
It's also
it's sick.
Interesting about this whole process is it was the first time that I had to like officially and with documentation like prove your quote unquote employment. Andrew and I are in basically a partnership. It's more complex than that. He's more than just like my employee, but like I pay him a check, right?
Yeah, for editing and shooting all the videos and stuff,
and way more than that,
way more.
But
that's like the main thing.
But it's funny because it's like on paper through taxes or whatever, he's like an independent contractor. So like they had to call me and they're like, "Why are you paying him in personal checks?" And I'm like, "Oh, because he's an independent contractor." Well, what does he do? Well, how much money does he make? They had to verify like all like your income and like all this stuff.
Because I'm doing a lease option, so they're also trying to verify that I'm gonna have steady income to pay the lease payments. Because the other thing that's interesting about cars, the guy that was kind of doing all the paperwork with me, he's like, it's actually kind of easier and like less paperwork almost sometimes when you're buying a house. He didn't say it was less paperwork, but he said like it's kind of an easier investment of like buying a house.
It's a longer
versus
waiting
buying
period.
A car, because a car can be stolen. A house is going to sit there. So if you can't make the payments, they know where to find you and they know where to find the house. If you don't make the payments on your car, you could be in Brazil. You can literally drive to Brazil.
Drive it to Mexico or whatever.
You can drive it anyway. So they've got to really make sure they're locked down of who you are. Same thing with rental car agreements. Like I know Ed Bolian on VinWiki. We talked about him briefly earlier in this episode.
Oh, the one that drove from Nashville to Atlanta at like 120 miles an hour.
He's got a bunch of crazy clips on his channel because he used to run a rental car for an exotic rental car agency. And he would have stuff all the time where like, someone was supposed to return the car after a week and then all of a sudden they stopped returning the calls and then all of a sudden the GPS thing got taken out and like, there's all these crazy things and they're just going on a wild goose chase. Luckily with exotic cars, it's a lot easier to spot them because it's like if you've got a blue Lamborghini, you're going to notice it a lot more easily than a silver Camry. But it's pretty interesting. And it's kind of crazy because they're basically they're letting you drive off the lot with like a brand new car. So they got to make sure that you're able to like make the payments. Cause for all they know, I could just be going in there and lying. Like they've got to verify all this stuff. So
what was interesting is, like they called the place, they called me and they were like, I think I'm talking to a business, but like the voicemail didn't say it was a business. So I'm looking for the business Wheels to Walking. Is this Wheels to Walking? I need to talk to a manager or a supervisor to verify employment of employee Andrew Deitch. Just give us a call back. And I'm like, oh dude, this is real shit right now. And then
because it was the bank.
Yeah. So the capital lender or whatever it's called.
Yeah. JP Morgan is the financial.
But it was
whatever.
like Mazda Capital that was calling me. And then they were like, okay, like what's his name? Like how long's he been working for you? How much money does he make? Blah 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 blah. Like what's his title? Like all this shit. And like most of it I just like fudged because I knew I knew what.
He's the senior advisor of all of the video team of the Wheels to Walking Corporation. Like,
I just tried to make it sound pro.
Yeah, exactly.
And they totally pull a fast one on me. Like I gave them the reference number and they're like, "Oh, is this for so and so?" And I was like, "I've never heard that my name in that life." And they're like, "Oh, well, it says it's for you." I was like, "No, I've literally never heard that name in my entire life. I think you got the wrong person." I'm like, "The reference code was," and I like gave it to them again, and they typed it in. They're like, "Oh yeah, okay, we see." Because I guess they thought that like you had given the number and then they called you, so then like you picked up the phone and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm employed by me."
Yeah, that's what they wrote on the thing. They said that they were like the number goes back to the customer, and I showed them. I'm like, I've been sitting here the whole time. I haven't taken any calls like that. The only call I took was from you, and the numbers on here, one's my number, one's your number, and I'm like. Obviously, and he called me to tell me that he talked to them. And so then the main manager guy was like, well, no, that's crazy. I don't know why they would have put that the number reroutes back to the customer. And I'm like, it doesn't reroute back to me. you would have seen me take the call and being like, oh yeah, Andrew is employed by me. Like, I didn't say
I'm
those
sure that
things.
type of scammy shit works though.
I'm sure, yeah. Because you could just list it. You'd say that you're employed by your brother, and your brother picks up the phone and he's like, oh yeah, he's been a great employee, blah blah blah, all this stuff. But I did have to print out like bank statements.
What was real
show.
interesting is like we're coming up on like tax season, and then I also have to like for Wheels to Walking like figure out what type of entity it is, and sometimes like if you don't specialize it, they automatically like put you into an entity whether you choose it or not. And so I knew like off the language, off the top of my head, I was like, oh, well, I'm a blah, blah, blah. And Andrew is a yada, yada. And he does this under this practice and this and that. And I was doing so much research because like I needed to like iron out and figure out what the hell is going on. So I'm like, like getting it all.
Yeah. But it was just like so weird. Yeah. That whole experience. But it's cool because I ended up with a brand new car. It's pretty awesome. I have like a 36-month lease, so it's like 3 years. But basically, the Mazda 3 base, like I literally just got the base model, like the standard. There are so many good options that come standard. Like it's crazy how good that car is base model. Like it's really nice.
Well, what are other cars in that class? What, like the Civic, the Accord?
Civic, the Accord's
too nice. So the Civic,
you've got the Volkswagen Golf, you've got if you're talking about hatchbacks versus sedan. But if you're not necessarily even specifying like a hatchback, you've also got like the Hyundai Elantra, you've got the Toyota Camry. There's plenty of cars in that class.
I basically mean like the 25 grand and below 4-door.
Yeah,
class.
exactly. Yeah, you've got pretty much those.
Yeah,
and yeah, the Mazda just blows a lot of the stuff out of the water. I mean, like you get a base model Civic, it is not nearly as cool and nice as
or a Toyota.
Yeah, and it's got like there's so many things, especially after watching like Doug DeMuro videos where I'm just like realizing bad design in cars and things like that. There are things in new cars that like infinitely piss me off, and I know that if I would have to like drive that car for 3 years, I'd be like annoyed every single day of my life that this is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully there hasn't been anything that I've noticed yet on the Mazda that's like that, but like they really nailed a lot of things very, very well. Number one, the AC head unit is separate from the entertainment area. So you've got a screen up above that's for like, your music and your navigation, blah, blah, blah.
Is that touchscreen or is that done with a knob?
It's like an iDrive with BMW.
Yeah.
It's like the knob. So it's not touchscreen, which I actually like.
I don't like touchscreens, honestly.
Yeah. Touchscreens in cars are not that intuitive because you have to, number one, take your eyes off the road. And number two, like there's no feedback, there's like
no physical button.
Yeah. And, with the AC controls, it's like very simple. You've got the fan up and down. You've got the knobs for the temperature, which I hate when the temperature is a button because you got to keep clicking that shit. Like, because most of the time on temperature, you want it all the way hot or all the way cold. Like, and then once you get it to the temperature,
my Jeep is like that where you have to like, there's no like hot, cold. It's like, all right, it's at low, and then you go to 60, 61, 62, 63, and you got to keep tapping it all the way till it's like 78 or 80, and then it flips over to high. And I'm like, can I just have a slider?
Yeah, exactly, right?
And there is a digital slider, but it doesn't respond well. I have to go into the touchscreen and like try to slide it up really fast, but because it's a car touchscreen and not a phone touchscreen, it's just...
Yeah, exactly. And like, there's just little things about it that I'm like, I like that someone actually thought about this, considered it, and then like changed it or whatever. There's just a lot of really good features on it. Another feature that
Where does Mazda come from, by the way?
Japan. It's a Japanese company. Yeah, another cool feature that I didn't know I was driving last night. It has this feature where it has automatic brights, and when a car comes, it turns them off.
Ooh, okay, that's cool.
I didn't even know it, and it was on. I'm like, why are my brights on? And then a car came, and it turned them off. Like, so it senses when another headlight is like...
So you got like automatic brights, automatic, you've got adaptive cruise control, you've got lane correction, you've got blind spot detection. Do your wipers automatically come on when the
rain sensing? Yeah, that's another thing.
You bastard. That's good.
Yeah, like there's just a lot of really good things about it that come standard. Like I can't believe that all those options are on the base model. Like it doesn't have heated seats, it doesn't have power seats, but I'm thinking also all the windows are auto. Like, you know how like a lot of times the back seats, you got to hold the back windows down.
Oh,
you can do auto for all 4 windows. It doesn't have a sunroof.
That's fine. I don't like sunroofs anyway.
Yeah.
I never opened mine up. Like, what's the point?
There's just like things that are like compromises that I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Like, you know, power seats is one thing that's like, if you're the only one driving it, you adjust it to how you like it, and then you pretty much leave it there. You know, like you don't need all these extra little things.
Seriously.
Yeah, the steering wheel is really cool. Like it's like a 3-pronged steering wheel. It looks really dope. Like it looks kind of like a racing style steering wheel.
Oh, it's got the 2 here and the one on the bottom.
Yeah, it reminds me of a BMW steering wheel. And the interior is just like, I mean, AJ, you saw it. Like
it's really nice. I mean, standard. All standard, and
it's crazy.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, you really got the deal here.
That feels like you're in like an Audi or like a Mercedes or something.
Yeah, like my mom has a Q7, like I think it's 2018. Just there's some things in it that I'm like, wow, because the entertainment system, it's really nice to have it like on hand, like right next to the shifter.
Yep.
Even though it's automatic, whatever. But, you know, changing that sort of stuff. And then
it's easier to do it when it's down here versus up here. You
exactly.
know? Just like, I was just like, wow, you really, you picked a good car.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, man.
And I think what's also beautiful currently about car purchasing is like, in today's day and age, you really can't buy a bad car anymore.
It's true.
Like, bad cars don't exist. Like, I would not say that 10, 15, 20 years ago, where you could still pull some cars off the lot and you'd be like, oh, especially like cars that are made for enterprise purposes. Like that still have like manual windows and like not even
really plasticky, shitty feeling.
Ford used to do that a lot. I used to hate Ford commercial vehicles because they were just
shitty.
They were just the most bare bones. It was like they intentionally tried to make it crappy so that they could make it cheaper.
My Mustang. It's literally like driving a plastic car.
What year's your Mustang?
2006.
Okay, I was gonna say that's about 15 years ago, 14 years ago. Yeah, when Ford was doing that, it was like, I remember one time I got into a brand new F-150 and it didn't have door pockets or door handles. It only had manual windows. The radio was that green, like,
have that
green shit.
And the little green dots for the screen,
and the display was still like, you know, physical, and the dash was like, you'd tap on it with your fingers, and you'd be like, that doesn't belong in a car.
Is this a toy?
You know, it was like the seats were like this cloth, and it was like nothing was powered. You couldn't even tilt the shit. Like,
dude, that's another thing in the Mazda. The armrests are so padded, like they squish. They're like this thick. Like, you know how sometimes when you're driving for a long time and your elbow starts to hurt because you've just been, I'm sure you get it, because like you're hand controlling. You know, you're just sitting for a long time and your elbows start to like get
mainly my butt hurts, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, there's just like a lot of
if
things.
If I drive for more than an hour, I always break out my cushion.
Yeah, the one complaint I have about it, this is so minor. I'm gonna sound like such a dummy.
No, but this is so Andrew.
The volume on the steering wheel, I wish it was a little scrolly knob
instead of buttons.
Yeah, so it's buttons on the front, and the way that the volume knob is you click it in for mute, and then you like press up and down for volume up and down. And the thing is, it's really easy to accidentally mute
when you're turning it up and down.
Yeah, so it's like kind of annoying. But the other thing is, next to the little iDrive, like little spinny wheel to control the head unit or whatever, there's another small knob that's volume. So you can be driving and still do volume, and it's here instead of up here, which I like, because it's literally right next to your hand. You got the volume right there. So yeah, I'm like, it's whatever.
That's cool.
It's so small. It's like literally so dumb.
Can't wait to learn more about that later.
Hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full episode that clip was from, you can click right here. If you want to subscribe to the channel, you can click right here. And if you want to watch more clips, we got 2 more right here.